Hey guys, how's it going? I am here on Mount Tamata. This is in New Zealand, and it's just a beautiful day. We're driving through the country. We're speaking a couple different places, but just a gorgeous view from this particular area. And as we're looking out, I want you to just get a chance to pan and see this beautiful view here in New Zealand, looking over the land. And the mountains are covered in green for the most part. You see kind of sheep everywhere, the steep cliff walls, beautiful testimony to God's creation and the global flood as we look around. But we were up here taking in this beautiful view, I was thinking about Moses, and we're looking at today's lesson, where Moses, before he passes away, God took him on to Mount Nebo to give him a chance to see the land, the promised land, promised to Abraham long before. And Moses wouldn't be allowed to enter because of his sin, but he was allowed to see the land, which was a gracious act on God's behalf. He sees the land, and it says later on, then God buried him in the valley, and then Joshua takes over. And a quick little side note before we move on to Joshua, if you notice in the account, when Moses dies, he doesn't get a lot of attention. Basically, it just gives you a few verses. Moses died, and then it just moves right on to Joshua taking over. It's almost like Moses isn't the focus, and he's not. The point we see there is Moses was God's chosen leader, but then he passes on, and God raises up a new leader in Joshua. And the point is, the focus isn't Moses, it isn't Joshua, it is God and what he is doing, the people he is raising up to accomplish his will and his purpose to his glory. And again, as we talk about often, God is the hero. History is indeed his story. So Joshua takes over, and he sends two spies into Jericho to check it out, as we see there in Joshua 1 and 2. And then as they go into the land, they hide in the house of a woman named Rahab. I'm sure you're familiar with that particular name. And it becomes known to the king in Jericho there were spies in the land from Israel. And he sends soldiers to Rahab's house. And what does Rahab do? We know Rahab hides the spies. And then she tells the soldiers to go off in a different direction to chase down those supposed Israelite spies. And then she comes and talks to the spies from Israel. And she tells the spies, hey guys, listen, fear of you has swept over our land because we have heard what the God of Israel has done for you. And I know he is the true God, the God of heaven and earth. She believed in the God of Israel. She was of the same spiritual race. And by the way, that's why it was okay when she married an Israelite. She was of the same spiritual race. She believed in the same God. And so she says, we know your God is the one true God. He's given you this land. We are melting in fear. And as the spies go back later on, report back to Joshua, they report, it's clear God has prepared us to take this land. The people are melting in fear. Her testimony to them gave them the courage and the encouragement to recognize, okay, yes, God has given this land to us. We need to go. Now, of course, I'm sure Joshua would have went anyway, but you see God working there in the hearts, preparing the people, getting them excited and ready to go into the promised land. As we think about that story, we can recognize that, you know what, just as God was working and all that to accomplish his will and his purpose, we know that God is always working in and through us to accomplish his will and his purpose to his glory. So I hope that's helpful to you in this lesson, and you guys enjoy the view as we check out.